I stared at my phone, reading Mom's text for the 10th time, trying to process what I was seeing. My hands were shaking slightly as I sat in my corner office at Martinez and Associates, where I'd worked my way up to senior investment manager over the past decade. Sofia, honey, slight change of plans for the cruise. Tommy's kids have never been on one, and he can't afford to take them. Since you're doing so well and can handle losing the deposit, we thought we'd take them instead. You understand, right? Family first. I was 34, single, and according to my family, that meant my time and money were perpetually available for everyone else's needs. The cruise had been my gift for my parents' 30th anniversary, a luxury 10-day Caribbean voyage I'd spent months planning and nearly $12,000 booking. Now, 2 weeks before departure, they were giving away my spot to my brother's kids without even asking me first. Tommy, my 37-year-old brother, had always been the family favorite. Despite his string of failed businesses and constant financial struggles, my parents never lost faith that his next venture would be his big break. Meanwhile, I put myself through business school, built a successful career, and somehow became the family bank. Last month alone, I paid for Tommy's car repairs, $2,300, and covered his twins' school supplies, $800. The month before that, it was emergency dental work for his daughter Emily, $1,500. I never said no because, well, they were family, and those kids deserved good things, even if their father couldn't provide them. But this felt different. I glanced at the framed photo on my desk. Mom, Dad, Tommy, and me at last year's Christmas dinner. I was wearing a new designer dress I'd bought for the occasion, and Tommy was in his usual wrinkled button-down from Target. Mom had commented that I was showing off with my expensive clothes while Tommy was sensibly saving for his children's future. The fact that Tommy hadn't saved a dime in his life while I'd worked 60-hour weeks to build my career seemed irrelevant to them. My office phone buzzed. "Ms. Martinez wants to see you about the Peterson account," my assistant's voice announced. "I'll be right there," I replied, pushing back from my desk. Work had always been my escape, the place where my efforts were actually appreciated. I grabbed my laptop and portfolio, trying to focus on the upcoming meeting instead of my family drama. 3 hours later, after successfully closing a 7-figure deal for the firm, I finally had time to process my mother's message. I pulled up my email and found the cruise confirmation. Royal Caribbean's Oasis of the Seas, deluxe ocean view balcony cabin for 3. I'd specifically chosen this cruise line because it was my parents' dream to sail with them. "You've got to be kidding me," I muttered, opening my call history. Over the past 6 months, I'd spent countless lunch breaks coordinating with the cruise line's luxury travel department, arranging special surprises for my parents, a private sunset dinner on their anniversary night, couple spa treatments, premium drink packages, the works. The cruise specialist, Amanda, had even helped me create a custom photo book documenting their 30 years together, which would be waiting in their cabin upon arrival. It included a heartfelt letter I'd written about how their love story had inspired me. Now that carefully planned tribute would make no sense with 2 hyperactive 12-year-olds along instead of me. My phone buzzed again. A text from Tommy. "Hey sis. Thanks for being so understanding about the cruise. The twins are super excited. Emily's already picked out her swimsuits. Understanding." I hadn't even responded to Mom's message yet, but of course, they'd all just assumed I'd go along with it. Because I always did. I opened my bottom desk drawer and pulled out the anniversary card I'd bought last week. Inside, I'd written about how much I was looking forward to spending quality time with them, just the 3 of us. Something we hadn't done since Tommy had kids. A knock at my door interrupted my thoughts. "Come in," I called, quickly wiping my eyes. My colleague Diana stepped in and paused when she saw my face. "Everything okay?" I tried to smile. "Just family stuff. What's up?" Diana closed the door and sat down across from me. We'd started at the firm together as junior analysts 7 years ago, and she was one of the few people who knew the full extent of my family's financial dependence on me. "Spill it," she said, crossing her arms. "What did they do this time?" I handed her my phone with Mom's text displayed. Diana's eyes widened as she read, then narrowed dangerously. "Oh hell no," she said, looking up at me. "Please tell me you're not going to let them do this." "I don't know what to do," I admitted. "They've already told the kids. If I say no, I'm the bad guy who ruined their vacation dreams. And if you say yes, You're out 12 grand and stuck at home while they enjoy the luxury cruise you planned and paid for. Diana countered. Sofia, this has to stop. You're not their personal ATM. Their family, I said weakly, but even to my ears, the excuse sounded hollow. Family doesn't treat family like this, Diana said firmly. When was the last time they did anything for you? When was the last time they even asked how you were doing? I thought about it. The last few family dinners have been dominated by Tommy's latest business idea, a food truck serving gourmet grilled cheese. Before that, it was a mobile dog grooming service. And before that, an artisanal soap company, each venture funded by my loans that never got repaid. They don't mean to take advantage, I said. They just don't think about how it affects me. Exactly, Diana exclaimed. Because you've never made them think about it. You just keep giving and giving. And they keep taking and taking. When does it end? My phone buzzed again. Another text from Mom. Honey, can you transfer the spending money you were going to use for yourself to Tommy's account? The kids will need it for shore excursions. Maybe add a little extra since there's 2 of them. Thanks, sweetie. Diana, reading over my shoulder, made a sound that was half laugh, half growl. Oh, that's rich. They're not just taking your spot, they want your spending money too. Something inside me snapped. Maybe it was the casual way Mom assumed I'd hand over even more money. Maybe it was the realization that they hadn't even pretended to feel bad about excluding me from the trip I'd planned and paid for. Or maybe it was just years of built-up resentment finally reaching its breaking point. I picked up my office phone and dialed the cruise line's number. Diana raised an eyebrow questioningly. Royal Caribbean Customer Service, this is Amanda speaking. How may I assist you today? I recognized her voice. She'd been my main contact throughout the planning process. Hi Amanda, this is Sofia Chen. I've been working with you on the anniversary cruise for my parents. Oh yes, Ms. Chen. Everything is all set for next week. The photo book arrived beautifully, and I've confirmed all your special arrangements. I took a deep breath. Actually, I need to make some changes. First, I need to know, as the person who booked and paid for the cruise, do I have the authority to modify the reservation? Of course, Amanda replied. You're listed as the lead guest and payment holder. Any changes would need to come from you. I caught Diana's eye, and she gave me an encouraging nod. In that case, I said, my voice steadying. I need to change the guest list. Remove my parents' names and add. I paused, then smiled slightly. Add Diana Lewis as my guest instead. Diana's mouth dropped open. I can help you with that, Amanda said. The cruise is paid in full, so there would be no additional charges. I'll just need Ms. Lewis's information to update the reservation. As I provided Diana's details, I felt a weight lifting from my shoulders. For the first time in years, I was choosing myself over my family's demands. All set, Amanda confirmed. The reservation is now for you and Ms. Lewis in the deluxe ocean view balcony cabin. Would you like to keep all the special arrangements? No, I said firmly. Cancel the anniversary dinner, the spa packages, and the photo book delivery. Instead, I glanced at Diana, who was now grinning widely. Please book us for the ziplining excursion in Street Martin and the catamaran tour in Street Thomas. After hanging up, I sat back in my chair, my heart pounding but my mind clear. Diana slow clapped. Now that, she said, is what I call setting boundaries. They're going to lose their minds, I said, but I was smiling. Probably, Diana agreed. But you know what? Let them. You've earned this vacation, Sofia, and more importantly, you've earned the right to say no. I picked up my phone, took a deep breath, and typed out a message to my family group chat. Mom, Dad, Tommy, I've made some changes to the cruise reservation. Since you've decided to exclude me from the trip I planned and paid for, I've removed your names from the booking. Diana and I will be enjoying the Caribbean instead. I suggest you start looking for a vacation that fits your actual budget. Also, moving forward, I will no longer be providing financial support for any of you. It's time for me to prioritize my own life and happiness. I love you all, but this dynamic needs to change. I hit send before I could second-guess myself. Within seconds, my phone started ringing, Mom's face flashing on the screen. I declined the call and turned off my phone. Ready for lunch? I asked Diana. I think we need to celebrate our upcoming vacation. As we walked out of the office, I felt lighter than I had in years. Sometimes I realized the best gift you can give yourself is the courage to say enough. By the time Diana and I returned from lunch, my office phone was blinking with 17 missed calls. My assistant, Mike, looked relieved to see me. "Your mother called every 10 minutes," he said apologetically, "and your father left 2 messages saying it's an emergency." "Did they say what kind of emergency?" I asked, already knowing the answer. "Something about a cruise?" Mike shrugged. "Should I put them through if they call again?" I shook my head. "No. In fact, please hold all calls from my family members for the next few days. I need to focus on the Peterson account." Back in my office, I finally turned on my phone. The notifications were overwhelming. 47 missed calls, 32 text messages, 15 voicemails, 3 emails. The text messages ranged from guilt-tripping to outright hostile. "Mom, call me immediately. We need to discuss this childish behavior." "Dad, your mother is crying. Is this how you want to treat your parents?" "Tommy, the twins are devastated. How could you be so selfish? They already told their friends about the cruise." I scrolled through them all, my resolve strengthening with each manipulative message. Then I opened my email and found one from Tommy's wife, Sarah. "Sofia, I just wanted you to know that I had nothing to do with this plan. I told Tommy it was wrong to take your spot without asking. But you know how your parents are when they get an idea in their heads. The twins will be fine. They didn't even know about the cruise until your mom told them yesterday. I'm sorry this happened. At least some in the family had a conscience." I was composing a reply to Sarah when my office door burst open. Standing there, face flushed and designer handbag clutched like a weapon, was my mother. "How dare you ignore my calls?" she exclaimed, striding into my office. I had to tell the receptionist I was having chest pains to get up here. I stood up slowly, my hands flat on my desk. "You lied about having a medical emergency to get into my office. Don't take that tone with me, young lady. I'm your mother." She dropped into the chair across from me. "Now, this nonsense about the cruise needs to stop. You're embarrassing the family." "I'm embarrassing the family?" I laughed incredulously. "You tried to give away my spot on a cruise I paid for, then demanded I give you extra spending money for Tommy's kids, and I'm the one who's embarrassing." "Family helps family," Mom said, using her familiar guilt trip voice. "You have so much money, Sofia. You live in this fancy apartment, wear expensive clothes, work in this big office. Meanwhile, your brother can barely afford his children's school supplies." "Maybe Tommy should have thought about that before having kids he couldn't afford," I said quietly, "or before sinking my money into failed business after failed business." Mom gasped. "How can you be so cruel? He's trying his best." "And what about my best, Mom?" I stood up, my voice rising despite my efforts to stay calm. "I work 60-hour weeks. I've earned everything I have. But somehow, in this family, my success is treated like a character flaw, while Tommy's constant failures are just him trying his best." "That's different," Mom protested. "He has children to support." "Children I've been supporting," I shot back. "Do you know how much money I've given this family over the past 5 years? Over $70,000. Did either you or Tommy ever once say thank you? Did anyone ever ask if I might want to save for my own future, my own family?" Mom's face hardened. "If you'd settled down and had children like a normal woman instead of focusing on your career, maybe." "Ms. Chen," Mike's voice came through the intercom, "Ms. Martinez is asking for you. The Peterson clients are here early." I'd never been so grateful for an interruption. "Mom, I have a client meeting. You need to leave. We're not finished discussing this." "Yes, we are," I said firmly. "The cruise decision is final. And so is my decision about no longer being the family ATM. Now please leave before I have to call security." Mom stood up, clutching her bag. "Your father will be very disappointed in you." "I'm disappointed in all of you," I replied. "But that's not my problem anymore." After she left, I had to take 5 minutes in the bathroom to compose myself before the client meeting. When I returned to my office, there was a text from Diana. "Just booked us matching swimsuits for the cruise. Ready to be bad influences on each other." I smiled, feeling some of the tension leave my body. "Best bad influence ever," I texted back. The rest of the afternoon passed in a blur of meetings and phone calls. Around 6, as I was preparing to leave, my office phone rang again. It was the front desk. "Ms. Chen, your brother is here. He's quite insistent of seeing you." I sighed. Tell him I've already left for the day. He says he'll wait in the lobby until you come down. Typical Tommy, using the same stubborn tactics that always worked on our parents. But I wasn't our parents. In that case, I said, please inform him that if he's still there in 5 minutes, you'll be calling building security. I waited 15 minutes working on reports before packing up my things. When I called down, the receptionist confirmed Tommy had left after security approached him. As I drove home, my phone started ringing through my car's Bluetooth. It was my father. After letting it ring twice, I decided to answer. Dad had always been the more reasonable parent, even if he usually gave in to Mom's demands. Hi, Dad, I said wearily. Sofia. His voice was quiet, disappointed. The tone he'd always used when he wanted to make us feel guilty. We need to talk about what you're doing to this family. What I'm doing to the family? I pulled into my apartment's parking garage. You mean refusing to let you give away my vacation to Tommy's kids, or refusing to keep bankrolling everyone's lives? Your mother is very upset, he continued as if I hadn't spoken. She had to take one of her anxiety pills. Is that what you wanted? What I wanted, I said, parking in my spot, was to celebrate your anniversary with you. What I wanted was for my family to appreciate me as a daughter, not just a convenient source of money. What I wanted was for someone, anyone, to consider my feelings for once. We do appreciate you, sweetheart, Dad said, his voice softening slightly. But you have to understand Tommy's situation. I have to go, Dad, I cut him off. I have an early meeting tomorrow. Sofia, wait. I love you, I said firmly, but I'm done being taken advantage of. If you and Mom want to enable Tommy forever, that's your choice. But you'll have to do it without my money. I ended the call and sat in my car for a few minutes, trying to steady my breathing. My phone immediately lit up with a text from Dad. Your mother and I raised you better than this. Family takes care of family. If you continue with this selfish behavior, you'll regret pushing us away when you're older and alone. The message stung, but it also strengthened my resolve. I typed back, I agree that family should take care of family, but it goes both ways. When was the last time any of you took care of me? Then I turned off my phone, took the elevator to my apartment, and poured myself a large glass of wine. As I stood on my balcony overlooking the city, I thought about all the times I'd sacrificed my own wants and needs for my family, the designer bag I'd returned to cover Tommy's rent, the European vacation I canceled to pay for the twins' summer camp, the downtown condo I passed on because the down payment went to bail up Dad's hardware store. My phone, which I turned back on out of habit, buzzed with an incoming email. It was from Tommy. Sis, I know you're mad, but you're being really unfair. The twins were counting on this vacation. Emily even made a countdown calendar. You're punishing innocent children because you're jealous of the attention they get. Mom's right. If you'd settled down and had your own kids instead of being so career-obsessed, maybe you'd understand what family really means. I started to type an angry response, then stopped. Instead, I opened my laptop and logged into my online banking. There, in black and white, were all the transfers I made to Tommy over the years. I quickly exported them to a spreadsheet, added up the total, and attached it to my reply. Dear Tommy, attached is a record of every dollar I've given you in the past 5 years. The total is $73,542. That money could have been my down payment on a house. It could have been invested for my future. Instead, it went to supporting you and your children you chose to have despite not being financially stable. I love the twins, but they're not my responsibility. Neither are you. From now on, you'll need to figure out your own finances. Maybe start by getting a real job instead of jumping from one failed business idea to another. Don't contact me again unless you're ready to apologize and pay back what you owe. Sofia. I hit send, then blocked his email address. Opening my calendar app, I counted the days until the cruise. 12. Less than 2 weeks until I could escape this drama and enjoy some much-needed relaxation with Diana. My phone buzzed one final time, a text from Sarah. Tommy showed me your email. He's furious, but I want you to know. You're right. About everything. I've been trying to get him to be more responsible for years. Maybe this wake-up call is what he needs. Take care of yourself, Sofia. I smiled slightly, appreciating her honesty. Then I ordered takeout, ran a hot bath, and started making a list of everything I needed to pack for my Caribbean adventure. For the first time in years, I was putting myself first, and it felt absolutely right. The week before the cruise was like navigating a minefield. My family tried every manipulation tactic in their arsenal to make me change my mind. First came the flying monkeys, relatives I hadn't heard from in years suddenly calling to check in and remind me about family obligations. Aunt Helen suggested I was having a mental breakdown. Uncle Pete hinted that my biological clock was making me bitter toward Tommy's kids. Cousin Maria straight up asked how much money it would take for me to stop this nonsense. I blocked them all. Then came phase 2, the social media assault. Mom posted a tearful status about children who forget their roots once they achieve success. Tommy shared a photo of the twins looking sad, captioned, "Having to tell your kids their aunt doesn't love them enough to share her blessings." #heartbroken, #family trauma. I deactivated my Facebook account. But the real breaking point came 3 days before the cruise. I was working late, finalizing the Peterson account, when Mike buzzed my office. "Ms. Chen, there's a situation in the lobby you should know about." I felt a headache forming. "What kind of situation?" "Your brother brought his kids. They're sitting on the floor with signs. Security's asking what you want to do." My hands clenched into fists, using the twins as emotional blackmail. That was a new low, even for Tommy. "I'm coming down." The lobby of Martinez and Associates was normally a model of corporate elegance, how marble floors and tasteful art. Now it looked like a protest site. Emily and Ethan sat cross-legged on the floor, holding crayon-colored signs reading, "Please don't cancel our vacation, and we love you, Aunt Sofia." Tommy stood behind them, phone out, clearly ready to record whatever confrontation he was hoping for. A small crowd of employees had gathered, watching the scene unfold. I walked straight to the security desk, ignoring Tommy's calls of, "Sofia, look who came to see you." "Please escort them out," I told the guard. "If they resist, call the police." "Sofia, don't be like this," Tommy protested. "The kids just want to talk to their aunt." I finally turned to face him, my voice ice cold. "Using your children as emotional pawns is disgusting, Tommy. You should be ashamed." Emily started crying, real tears or coached. I couldn't tell anymore. Ethan looked confused and uncomfortable. "Ms. Chen." A familiar voice cut through the tension. I turned to see Ms. Martinez herself standing there, taking in the scene with narrowed eyes. "Is everything all right?" "I'm so sorry about this, Ms. Martinez," I began, but she held up a hand. "Don't apologize. I overheard what's happening." She turned to Tommy. "Sir, you are creating a disturbance in a private business. You have 30 seconds to leave with your children before I call the authorities. And be aware, if you post any recordings of this incident online, our legal team will be in touch." Tommy's face reddened. "This is a family matter." 20 seconds, Ms. Martinez said calmly. He grabbed the twins' hands, shooting me a venomous look. "Hope you're happy, Sofia. Mom was right. You've changed." "Yes," I agreed. "I have." After they left, Ms. Martinez touched my arm. "Take tomorrow off, Sofia. Get ready for your vacation. The Peterson account is in good hands." I felt tears threatening. "Thank you. I'm sorry about all this." "Don't be. I've been watching your work for years, seeing how you handle everything with grace and professionalism. You deserve this break." She smiled slightly. "And between us, sometimes family needs a wake-up call." That night, I got a call from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. "Sofia, it's Sarah. I'm at a hotel with the kids." I sat up straighter. "What happened?" "I left Tommy," she said, her voice shaky. "After what he did today, using the twins like that, I just couldn't take it anymore. He's been getting worse since you cut off the money, drinking more, talking about how everyone's against him. Are you and the kids safe?" "Yes, but," she hesitated. "I hate to ask, but could you help me find a good divorce lawyer?" "Not money," she added quickly, "just a recommendation. You're the only person I trust who isn't under Tommy's influence." "Of course," I said. "I'll text you some names. And Sarah, you're doing the right thing." "So were you," she replied. "I should have said something years ago about how they treated you." "Maybe if I had." "We can't change the past," I told her. "But we can make better choices now." After we hung up, I sat on my balcony thinking about how much had changed in just 2 weeks. Standing up to my family had caused chaos, yes, But it had also sparked changes that were probably long overdue. My phone buzzed with a text from Diana. All packed, ready for a great escape. I smiled, looking at my unpacked suitcase by the door. More than ready. Another text came through, from Mom, from a new number I hadn't blocked yet. Your father had to start blood pressure medication because of the stress you're causing. Tommy's marriage is falling apart. The twins cry themselves to sleep. All because you've become too selfish and important to help family. I hope you're satisfied with what you've done. I took a deep breath and typed, Mom, I love you. But I'm not responsible for Dad's health, Tommy's marriage, or anyone's happiness but my own. I'll be away for the next 10 days. When I return, if you want to talk about building a healthier relationship, one based on mutual respect rather than financial obligation, I'm open to that. If not, please stop contacting me from new numbers. Goodbye. Then I poured myself a glass of wine and started making a playlist for the cruise. Tomorrow, I packed my final items. The day after, Diana and I would board a flight to Florida. And for 10 glorious days, I would enjoy the vacation I'd earned with someone who actually appreciated my company. Let them all stew in their anger and guilt trips. I was done being the family ATM. Done being the responsible one who sacrificed everything while Tommy played the eternal victim. Done measuring my worth by how much I could give to people who never gave back. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do, for yourself and others, is to stop enabling toxic behavior, even when it hurts, even when it causes chaos, even when the people you love call you selfish. Because sometimes being called selfish by people who took you for granted means you're finally doing something right.